As the clock strikes 12, it was the early morning of May 6, 2024. You come outside of your apartment in Yetiv, only to find out that it is in ruins. The whole street is in ruins. The whole town is in ruins. You try to call for help, but there was no answer. Your vision becomes blurry, and everything around you is swaying, swirling, moving like the wind in your mind. As you touch your head, as you feel an acute pain hitting your skull, you feel an oozing liquid into your hair. You become curious. What was that? When you pulled your hand away to catch a glimpse of it, you saw a puddle of blood. You were bleeding in your head. You must have been hit by a thing, or maybe because of the impact of the earthquake. Then you remembered. It was not an earthquake. Then you suddenly remembered. It was then 11:40 p.m., May 5th. You hurried back into your apartment out of fear, locked the door, and opened the television. All you saw was test cards and color patterns as you switched channels. Out of frustration, you turned it off. You begin to rummage your stuff to find a radio that you can find a signal or hear an update on. Your phone is laid flat on the wooden floor. You presumed it was dead since you never charged it. You hear a long static noise over and over as you switch on the frequencies to find a channel, and alas, you have found an emergency broadcast, but it was the last broadcast you will hear.
My fellow countrymen, our land has fallen into war. The people are massacred in the streets of Nonborg, the capital. The warships will seize Yetiv at midnight and will kill the people. The warships will take over the palace and to implement a fascist regime. This is the end times. May God be with you.
A sound of gunshot is heard in the air, hinting that the one delivering the news of the siege is no longer with us. It was followed by a long static noise that screeches your ear. You hear the marching of the soldiers down on the streets. They thunder. They linger. Their presence intimidates you as they plan to bomb Yetiv and kill the people. The static was cut from the radio, which shifted your attention. It was from the same station you heard a while ago. This time, the announcer was different from the previous one. He had a stern tone in his voice, a commanding one.
This is General Alexei Vladimirovna, the ruler of the Bolshevik Fascist Party, your president. Those who support the new government should leave their homes and seek for Nineveh, our new capital, before the stroke of midnight. Anyone who forms the resistance will be executed immediately. May the Lord bless our union, the Holy Empire that will rule over the world.
The speech ended with a beeping sound, followed by the ticking of the clock. The people ran from their homes seeking for Nineveh, which is in fact 2 kilometers away from where you live. And if they don't make it, God knows what will happen to them. As families began to come out of their complexes, apartments, and homes, they were met by a barricade of soldiers with guns pointing at them. You don't understand. They were leaving for Nineveh. They support the new government against their will, and now all they have to survive under a fascist regime. And that is when you heard the bell of the clock tower ring. It is midnight. A body fell on the ground. Someone screeched. Another body fell on the ground. Many people are falling in their knees. They are crying, begging for mercy. But the bullets heard their misery. The bullets heard their cries. Some people tried to run the other way for safety. Thank God they were saved. They were met by bullets. The bullets welcomed them. They begged for mercy, but the bullets kept cursing them. You were there, on the 5th floor, crying, silently, hoping that they will not hear you, hoping that there are also people stuck with you in the situation where you didn't come down and go to Nineveh. They lied to the faces of your people. Nineveh is overpopulated. They had to exterminate the population. Nineveh is the new Auschwitz concentration camp. That is the general's order. All the bodies are in the road. You can hear their cries getting softer and softer. Until you can even hear their last breaths. In a matter of seconds, buildings were bombed next to you. The tanker leaves. The soldiers marched back to Nineveh to kill more people. The sound of the ticking clock is the last thing you heard before a fragment of stone wall hits you. You found yourself standing outside your apartment in Yetziv, a street of ruins where a massacre took place before your very eyes. You became hallucinated with the sight that it swirls in your head, and acute pain hits you as when you touch your head. You found yourself bleeding. You fall to your knees, yet an arm catches you. You see a man and a woman carrying you through a complex. As you go inside, you found yourself with the people who survived the midnight massacre of the Borshevs. You ask them, what happened? They explain to you that Alexei is leading the empire under a fascist rule and helped the sons of Jacob to siege the United States to form a theocratic rule under the newly formed Republic of Gilead. He also helped the Communist Party of China to not just take the West Philippine Sea, but also the seat of the palace. The Philippines is under the Chinese rule, and their president is only their puppet, an incompetent leader who is the son of a glorified dictator. The people who went to Nineveh were welcomed into their concentration camps. They were slain, slaughtered, mutilated, and worse. They were buried and burned in a large pit, an unmarked grave. As you get transported in St. Olga by an ambulance, out of their knowledge, the vehicle went to the palace square and was brought to the main lobby. And the first person who welcomed you with a smile was General Alexei. Have you enjoyed the sight, Miss Witty?
Yes, I did. I did enjoy the sight, but I believe your time here is due.
He put a gun in his head and pulled the trigger. You face the soldiers of the Bolshevik army and the founding fathers of the fascist movement. Cameras are pointed unto you as you stand into the podium outside the palace square. The people from all around the empire are all looking to you. This was left out from your mouth.
The Holy Empire will flourish in my reign. Long live the Russian Empire! Hurrah!
And they all bowed to you, the new leader of the empire. You were never a resident at Yetiv. You pretended to be there to see the manslaughter yourself. And they all praised you, the new empress of the empire. As the clock strikes 12,